Sweet. Thank you for joining my Archangel Morningstar podcast. I'm here with Mark Johnson, great friend of mine.
What's going on, Mike? How you doing?
Doing good. Celebrating a Black History Month with you today.
Fried chicken.
Yes, sir. Fried chicken.
We're gonna celebrate Black History Month.
Yeah.
With fried chicken, y'all. Now, me and Mike, we both happened to see a news clipping from a Massachusetts school that chose to serve fried chicken for the first day of Black History Month. And when I first saw this, on the news, it triggered a response in me, and I started thinking about actually they said they serve watermelon too, but it's
that part I didn't
know
today.
that part either till today either, right?
Yeah.
But it triggered a response in me, right? But then again, like we were at work and I was asking people, people were asking me, well, what would you want served? And I didn't really have an answer for that. So once I got home and I started thinking about it, I was like, man, I probably would want fried chicken. You know what I mean? Cause that's my shit, you know? So, but Mike never looked at it that way. He always looked at it from a different perspective, and that's the beauty of the differences between us, because he opened my eye up and made me relax a little bit and step out of my emotional response and look at it from a whole different perspective. And I think I was wrong.
Yeah,
you know
I want
mean?
to say on many occasions that we, in discussions you and I get deep on, you do the same for myself. You enlighten me, and you come in with some very deep material, deep knowledge that I may have already heard before, but now you're bringing it back to light. It was like, yes, these are the types of things I like to talk about. You know?
Yeah. It's healthy. I think it's
deep
healthy,
insight.
man, for not to talk about the sports and Tom Brady and what's going on, and talk about some history and some real things. You know what I mean? Like that's what I enjoy talking about. I don't really like the bullshit shit. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Keep it real and talk about some good stuff.
With the fried chicken with the high schoolers, so then I didn't realize either that it was an all boys school. It looked to me from the people that they were interviewing on the newscast, they were all white. I'm sure there was some black kids in there too, but it looked to me it was mostly a white school. Privileged, it's Catholic. It takes money to go into a school like that.
And
so I think their hearts were in the right direction, saying, you know what, we're not gonna let racism become a part of our history, of our culture, of our generation. And they walked out on that note. But I was just saying, like, you know what, I have plenty of black friends, and I've been plenty of black owned restaurants that eat and cook fried chicken.
And that's when you said that, that's what made me think. Like when you go to these restaurants, these soul food restaurants, these black restaurants,
food.
That's what they got. So if I'm a white person and I don't really know the culture, and they ask me that question, that's gonna be my answer. You know what I mean? Especially if I'm not looking at it from a racist point of view. I'm just looking at it from an honest, open, you know what I mean? What my answer would be without a racist point of view to it. Someone might say that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I might say that myself. You know what I'm saying? If someone asks me, because that everyone who knows me, right? And that's funny. Everyone who knows me knows that I'm the chicken man. Like,
gotcha.
When I go to cookouts, people ask me to season their food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
they know
sir.
I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, got that flavor.
But how about this? Remember I was telling you from this perspective, Mike. What if? Look at it like this, right? We're in Massachusetts, right?
Yes.
And Massachusetts is a very racist place.
Okay.
Very closed-minded. Some of these towns are very, if you don't fit the mold, you on the outside. You know what I mean? So what if this school was having issues with racism in the past, and an employee there, maybe this employee there, the black employee who they asked.
That's right, because it was a black employee that okayed that meal.
Okayed them. No,
yeah.
not okayed it. they suggested it was a
Actually
cafeteria worker.
right?
It was one of the cafeteria workers, basically one of the cooks or something in there who they asked and they said, "What would you cook for Black History Month?" And this black employee said, "Fried chicken," and that's what happened.
Okay.
But what if this black employee was having racial issues at this school and knew that by him cooking that fried chicken on that first day that would trigger a response and get this snowball and get
the news in there,
get the news in there, and they start poking and digging into other stuff like that. You know what I mean? In this day and age, like you got to think like that, man.
Yeah, right.
People are smart, man. People ain't, you know.
They'll do that in order to get, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do something like that in order to make it look a certain way to get a certain response. You know what I mean? But it's almost like a setup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You never know. But I always look at stuff from that perspective. I try to look at it from all perspectives.
I think these kids, you do. You know what? I think these kids suffer from a little form of mass hysteria. They're under a lot of stress anyways. They're going to school, there's COVID, freaking all this weird shit going on, and now and they don't want to deal with racism. I mean, I know even, right, like who wants to? Like, I know I don't want to.
I know,
but at the same time, you and I know that it's out there, so that I do have the conversations. Like I go all out on it because I'm like you. Like I love the knowledge of it because
the kids.
It's good for the children. You know, to make them aware, right?
Yeah, they like this perspective, right? Like I ask you, right? We all know that there's racism.
Yeah, there is.
Right? There's racism. You know what I mean? There's some systems set up, and there's some people in some certain places that have some certain powers that are controlling certain things, and they've had these systems in place for hundreds of years, and these systems are just as common as you driving through a McDonald's drive-through. Something that people do, something happen. You know what I mean? Something you have to deal with. So, in order to really not even expose it, but to end something, right? You got to learn how to fight it. You got to learn how to beat it, basically. But if you're not aware of it, how can you beat something you're not aware of?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If something's targeting you, if you're dealing with a situation, right, and like that's almost like say you're in, say you're somewhere say you're working somewhere, right, and you're doing your job, right, but the supervisor keeps coming to you and asking you, hey man, how come you're not getting this done right, whatever, and you're like, what do you mean? I did whatever I would do, because you got somebody else telling them that you didn't do something that they were supposed to do.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like some real backhanded type of stuff. They want
to put someone else's stuff on your plate.
Put someone, you know what I mean? And that's hard. And sometimes that's hard to prove. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if I'm really backhanding you and I'm an intelligent person, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like this might be what I do. I backhand people for a living. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You know, I will say though, like I agree with you that there's a lot of racism in New England, but also there's a vast majority, probably more so in New England, in my opinion, in areas where there's people that are anti-racist. You know, like they're not racist at all.
Yeah.
You know, like they're in the look. You know what? Let's all just be American, and we're all in this together, and everyone should just be looking for the same plate. You know what I mean? Everyone's
most people are like that. In my opinion, most people feel that way, right?
Yeah.
But the ones who have the power, the whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't want to let that go. And I know that racism in this country is a business. Yeah. It's always been a big business. So if I'm a business owner and that's my business, I'm not letting that go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Until the walls come falling down. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make every dollar I can off of it. And I feel like we're seeing it kind of coming to an end, kind of crumbling now, and I feel like they're still trying to pull every last dollar that they can get off this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they invent more types of racism, right? We were talking about corona. A vaccination. If you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, so that's the new racism.
Right? They tried it. Like I watched a little documentary. It says that like they tried it with they tried that with race. You know, like they said that didn't work. They tried it with I'm gonna say feminism, male against female.
Yeah.
That didn't really work. that's still a really strong, weird movement. That's like when you talk like the definition of a feminist is someone who supports women's rights. Right. So you're a feminist, Mike, and I'm a feminist, right? But if I talk to one of those hardcore feminists, they're gonna hate me and they're gonna hate you, man.
It's a terrible word too. Terrible. Right? It's like, who even made up that word?
I know.
It's like, what's wrong with just being a gentleman?
It's almost like, you know, it almost sounds like racist, feminist. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sexist. You know what I mean? It's like one of those type of words. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I am a feminist.
Psychologically, they know what they're doing when they come out with words like that too, right? They're there to incite you.
Definitely triggers. They're triggers, man.
Wow.
That's like when somebody's if you know a person who's bipolar, they have triggers, man. They be the sweetest person, the calmest person, the coolest person until they come up amongst one of those triggers, and some of those triggers are food. Some a person says, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that trigger, right, turns that person into a totally different person. Instantly almost.
Wow.
So what if they've learned how to trigger just the average person?
Yeah.
They can just watch something on TV, they show you this, they put this movie out, boom, boom, they put it together and they hit and everyone's triggered at the same, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's that's how I look at stuff now.
I also believe that like we have good government, then we've got corrupt government, like we're talking about now. But there's other also good government. There's good parts of the agencies, and there's other corrupt parts. And the corrupt is like where the racism is, and the crack cocaine. That's how it all came out in the '80s, right? And things like that. And
that's business.
What I'm saying is that's direct because the one I mentioned that there's the crack cocaine because that's all wasn't that part of the racism? It's like when you look at where it was all released at was in downtown.
All right, let me give you
right.
Let me give you my history on that. Right?
Like a Target.
I grew up on a street. I grew up in Dorchester, Massachusetts, right? On Hansborough Street, which in the '80s was a crack block, which was also a quote unquote a military crack block where these kids were armed. You know what I mean? This is a street, and these kids are 14, 15, 16, you know, 17, 18 years old, right? And this drug has been introduced, and this is a summer. I'm gonna give you a scenario. I'm gonna say September. Say September, right? But in June, right? My neighborhood wasn't like this.
Yeah.
In June, I had a place where I could go outside and ride my bike and play and blah 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 blah. But 4 or 5 months later, right, once this crack cocaine hits my neighborhood in September, just that summer, right?
Right.
It's a totally different place, yo. There's crackheads walking around. People are breaking in people's cars now.
Yeah.
You can't hang outside at night. There's shootings. People are getting killed. There's murders. And this stuff happened in months. That was government planted. Like, they destroyed my neighborhood.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying, yo? They took these good people, and it's crazy because like most of the people who I saw get on drugs as a kid, a lot of them were homeowners who owned these homes, man. You know what I mean? And they just lost all respect. You know what I mean? Like they were outside. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's hard to explain, but it's definitely government, definitely CIA, and definitely. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like those definitely like parts of the agency that went outside of what they were supposed to do. Probably, I don't know, because there's definitely the other ones that look at that as like, come on, dude, like, we can't, yeah, because like I know this because you know there's good guys out there, dude.
I know,
you know what I mean.
But if you're a good guy on a good agency, right, and you don't tone the bad guy in the good agency, you're a bad guy too, right?
Well, maybe it depends because, like, you don't know, like... Well, no, I agree with you on that. You know, I don't know because, like, there's probably ins and outs that are variables going on that, like...
But it can't be like that. If
I don't know,
these are our law
you know
enforcement agencies, right? These are our... Right? And you got a partner. Say me and you are partners.
Yeah.
Right? Me and you are partners on the force, right?
Right.
And we go out. We get in our car. We hit the strip. We hit the beat, whatever. And you're a criminal. Or I'm either vice versa, you know what I mean? You're doing stuff, you're profiling people, you're bothering people, you're not, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't say anything to you.
Yeah.
and I do this, and we're partners for years, and I watch you do this for years, break the law for years.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Or am I just getting a check? Am I just getting a check? You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
yeah. I mean, there's a lot for that, right? Yeah, I mean,
like that's the kind of stuff I look at. Like when I look at law enforcement, you got to be correct, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Got to be 100%.
Got to be 100%
all the time. Yeah. Otherwise, if because it's always been seen in history, like if cops, whenever they take they do things crooked or they plant evidence or anything like that, it always. Like even years later, that stuff always comes back, and then that ruins all these other cases.
It does,
and all that stuff like that.
I've had personal experiences from friends who've been incarcerated, who were supposed to do a lot of time, and who were let out of jail because of a dirty police officer.
Mm.
And that's in Massachusetts. That's in this state, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know a couple. Me personally, I know a couple situations. I don't want to talk about them at all on camera.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I know a couple of situations where people have walked out the door scot-free because they were arrested by a dirty police officer. You know? And how does it look? You going to jail being arrested by a criminal?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to jail for this dude doing the same shit I'm doing, man. Like, wow, because he's on that team and I'm not.
So just to break it up a little bit, can we talk about the Olmecs?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
All right, it's the Olmecs, right?
Talk about it. I'm gonna look it up.
Thank you. Okay. I love the Olmecs, dude, because it's, in my opinion, as you're looking that up, is that it's in no questions in my mind that Africans came over to South America and Central America, according here, about 1200 BC to 400 BC. And probably even further back in time than that, because we're going on dates that they gave out way back in the day when they had lesser technologies than we have now to date things. And they don't want to give credit to these people. There was an archaeologist who was even saying that, because you see those faces.
Yeah.
I mean, telling me who that looks like that way. I mean, there's people that I've met.
They look like Haitian men. They look like to me that nose and those lips look like a lot of guys that I know that are Haitian men. They have a certain type of warrior look to them. They have a thicker like. I as I got older, right, I look at like these heads, right?
Yes.
Those heads, that's a certain people.
Yes.
There's thousands and thousands of guys that look like that. You know what I mean?
Tribes.
Tribes. You know what I mean?
Even in my opinion.
Like you see how that one's different
empire.
from that one.
Yeah.
See that one's different. See how that guy is different from that guy. They all look similar.
Yes.
But they would, you know what I mean? Like
what we're looking at are the stone heads. The stone heads found in South America, which depict an African face, in my opinion. It's not. I mean, certainly not European or Indian or anything like that. It certainly all the beautiful facial structures that you would find. And then, may I also add that where those are close by, you got pyramids.
So in your opinion, do you think that those were dark melanated people?
Yes, 100%.
100%, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So why do you think that people? So in your opinion, what is the debate? Where's the debate coming, Mike? You know what I'm saying? Like honest debate. Like what is that about? Because it's obvious.
Here's a couple things I'll throw at you. One is his story.
His story, yes.
History, right? History. And that's what it is. And then secondly, many other people, and I could go on people have said the same thing, but here's one, Napoleon, who just came out of nowhere and tried to kick Great Britain's butt and almost did it, and then they conquered him back and they exiled him on an island, kept him alive. Mm-hmm. And he came out and said, history is written by those who conquer.
Victor writes history.
Thank you. That's what he was saying. The victor writes the history. And also, he was saying they can even change it.
Yeah.
To where what you're learning and then what actually happened may not be the exact same thing.
It's not. Right? Most history is A lot of history is opinionated.
Like, you see
and
that,
not factual.
like this pyramid in Mexico, like you got the Pyramid of the Sun. It's bigger than the one in Egypt. You know, and then
so do you think that those were the same people, right? See, this is what they try to say, right? Those were built by people that look like the Olmecs. You think so?
The pyramid, maybe. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that I'm gonna get deeper on you. The Pyramid of the Sun, and this is what the Pyramid of the Sun looks like in Mexico. Then you have these temples that go all the way down here. Then you have another one just like this over here. It's Pyramid of the Moons. They have the sun, the moon, and all the temples between. This whole thing in Mexico is 8 miles by 8 miles. That's how big that is. And also
whole fucking civilization.
Hey, check this out. What about they also have another pyramid down there with a hoop on the side of it, a hoop. And what they used to do is they used to play games. And by the way, these pyramids, let me back up. They say the Incas and the Aztecs that still did sacrifices on these things. They said the people before them built those. And I'm talking about the Olmecs and all.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
And I saw you sent me something and I watched that, and I never knew that they moved in there.
They called the Olmec the rubber people, the rubber people, right? Now the hoop on the side of that pyramid, there was a game that they used to take that rubber ball and put it between that hoop. But the thing is with the natives, the other natives that ended up living there, they were into cannibalism, unfortunately. But the thing is that they had that game passed down to them generation to generation from the people that actually built the stuff to begin with. And then one more thing I want to add to tie that all up to the Olmecs, Africa, melanated people here already being here. You got the pyramids, and plus you got the rubber people and Olmecs. Is that, did you know that they found 5 mummies in ancient Egypt, right? They're called the cocaine tobacco mummies. The reason why they're called that is because all 5 mummies, all within their intestines and everything, is littered with cocaine and tobacco, which you can only find in South America. So how do you find that? What can they say?
And I watched something. That I learned from
and
here.
It doesn't make big
listen to
news
this
for right? Some reason.
I learned. I put a post. I learned about they were called cigar store Indians, right? Cigar store Indians, right? These statues, right, are all over the world, right? And they're statues of native Indians, but they're black.
Yes, sir.
Right?
I've seen that.
They're black, right?
All those statues that you were showing me.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you study the history of these statues,
what are those statues called again?
Cigar store Indians.
Cigar store Indians.
They're selling online for I don't want to say, I don't know how much they're selling for, but they're selling for, if you got a real one, you can get some big fucking money for that right now.
Oh, yep.
But this is what I learned about this, is that these were a people. These were a dark melanated people in North America who grew tobacco, who had fields and fields of tobacco, right?
Yeah.
And they sold this tobacco all over the world. They were selling this tobacco. People were coming from Sweden, from Danish people, from French people, and they were getting this tobacco because this was the best tobacco, because this land at this time was so fertile or whatever for that tobacco.
Yeah.
And these people had money. They had their own culture. They even dressed themselves in these tobacco leaves.
Wow.
They rolled them up like we roll blunts now, and they smoked them, and they stuffed them in their cheeks. And this was, you know what I'm saying? This was their culture, and they basically cut this out of history. This is something I basically just found out about weeks ago. You know what I mean? And I watched a little documentary on it, and it's mind blowing to know that these people were here and they were doing this and they were thriving and they were successful. You know what I mean? And they blocked that out, Mike. You know what I mean? You have to dig for that. You have to come across that. That's not going to be something that's, you Google it and it's going to come up and be like,
So we have melanated people running the show with pyramids, drug trade,
all
going across the ocean,
chilling, living.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Living.
So then therefore there is an economy. There's a type of government going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Mississippi River, right? They say the Mississippi River was just as valuable as the Nile River. It had like back in the days that place was booming, beaver furs and you know what I mean? Like anything you had to sell, you could get from here and you could get it there with that river. You know what I mean? Up and down the coast. Then you get to the ocean, whatever. But they want to make it seem like that's the part of history that bothers me so much, is that they always want to make it seem as if it's just slave master over here, and that's not the real history. Right. The real history is that even some of these cigar, what do I call them, cigar store Indians had so much money that they probably had slaves. Yeah. But the difference is, this is the difference with the slavery with these I'm gonna call them the crackers, the real pig people, right? Okay. They didn't look at them as humans, so
they looked at them as subhumans because something else was looking at them as subhuman.
If like say you were a slave and you were owned by a certain Indian tribe or a Native African American tribe or whatever you want to call them, right? You did your job. You worked there. You could have a husband. You could have a girlfriend and have kids and whatever. And you could earn your freedom. Then you could work and you could be free. And you could get you a little slave. And it was like a way to wow. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when they saw how valuable that was, if I don't have to let this person go, you know what I'm saying? If this person just has to work for me forever and ever and ever and ever, and I, you know what I mean? I turn this person into an animal, turn their kids into an animal, then that's the most profitable thing ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if a man with some hands who works for you for free, like, you know what I mean? Like you could just sit back and just say, hey, Of course you're gonna make millions and get rich off of that, man. But you have to, if the indentured servant slavery stuff is how it's really supposed to be. You know what I mean? You work for me, you come here, I got you, you work for me, you do this, whatever, you earn your freedom, now you're free. But if you don't do that, when that stops, man, then what? Right. You know what I mean?
Everybody's really in it together. Right?
It's like,
everybody works together.
Once they stopped that, they messed it up, Mike. Yeah. You see them? They destroyed it because that would, the other way would have kept going on forever. It might have still been going on. People still could come here. You know what I'm saying? Like even to this day, what if somebody wanted to come from China or whatever, or Africa or whatever, and I'm not rich, but say, hey, you come here and you work for me for 5 years. You know what I'm saying? And then you free. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got enough money or whatever to make that happen for you. But if I'm gonna lie to you, if I'm gonna bring you over here, and then I'm thinking I'm gonna keep you, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's like, oh man, that's crazy. But do you think that how you say the Aztecs, they moved into these pyramids, right? Basically, the pyramids were here before they started their civilizations.
Yes,
they came amongst these places. So you think they came? Do you think when they came amongst these places, these places were in ruins? Not ruins, but you know what I mean, like.
You know, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that because there's a lot of mystery to it. You know what I mean? Like there's.
That's what I look at it as.
Because one reason why I say I don't know is because like they've been using this technology called LiDAR
to find the.
So it's like laser technology. So they're flying over the jungle and they're just putting these lasers through the forest, and they found like literally thousands of lost civilizations already that they haven't even gotten people in to look at yet. They just know they're there.
Yeah.
So that's how it. So like, why it went sour? It could be a lot of reasons. It could have been like a world catastrophe. It could have been war, right? I mean, could have been both. Disease.
Some type of disease.
Yeah.
Wiped everybody out.
I mean, geez, because for it to stretch that far,
but in your opinion, right, do you think that when the Olmecs, right, finished with these pyramids, or whatever happened to them when they disappeared in the Aztecs and the Mayans, they came amongst these pyramids and they moved into these pyramids. Do you think these pyramids were in good condition
Oh yeah, they said they were
See
too,
what
and
I'm
they
saying?
kept them in good
They
condition.
helped
Yeah.
it, you know what I mean? Like, or is it something that they were able to like that's amazing. That's almost like say where we live now, right? Something happened and wiped everybody out, and now all these big WalMarts and all these big stores and all, and we just move into, you know what I mean? We just move into a Walmart,
Right.
and there's some power. We can get some power. We can get some, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we can make it happen.
So here's another thing I could break down to you, right? My opinion, because I believe in like certain things. Like you see this, I have this on. Have you ever noticed that within that upside down star that you have a pentagon right inside of it?
Yeah,
See it? That's what the pentagon looks like.
Yeah, it
At
does.
the heart of the beast.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah, there's some sevens in there too.
Yeah, with
though.
pyramids on the top.
You see all those sevens in there.
Dang, yeah, the number 7. Yeah, you're right. That's true. It's all there.
It depends on how you want to see stuff. You know.
That's
what I mean?
true. That's true.
You know.
So the thing that I realized about these ancient ruins with the Olmecs, and what the ancient Egyptians also had, is what they all had in common was they were all into deep ritualistic snake worship. And like, for one, like when people came over to America, like Columbus and them said they called America. There's a couple of reasons. One story is a popular story among the natives is that America was already called America, but it's pronounced Americu.
Americu. You ever heard of the people saying it's from the explorer, like Amerigo Vespucci or something?
That's another one.
That's another theory, right? I don't think I believe that one too much myself.
Americu.
Let me see.
No, I didn't put Quest.
See, I watched this lady last night, right? This is a, see her, Mike? She is, she has documents and stuff, right? Like, she's from Virginia, and she is like a Chickasaw Indian. Like, she has paperwork and her family, you know what I mean, proof and whatever, and she fights against these guys, and she has stuff that's her family, like when they were called, like the word Indian at one time, right? They changed it. The word Indian was I don't even know how to explain it. But the paperwork that she has says Indian on it, right? But
Which is incorrect.
I know I know that, right?
They stuck that on the name over here because Columbus was looking for India and came across America.
Yes.
And they just gave them a name that doesn't even apply. So
when she says that she's American Indian, right? People be like, you're not supposed to say that term. That's a wrong term, right? But she says, I don't care what you say. She says, my paperwork has this on it, and that's the law. You see what I'm saying, yo? So the law says that this is what I'm, you know what I'm saying? And we're in a country where the law is the order. And she's like, I don't care what you say if it's an improper term. She said, I got this paperwork here, and it says that I'm an Indian and under this law, so I'm following this law because I want what this law is offering me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna follow this law.
So she's truly a native.
Truly a native, dude. You know what I'm saying? Her she's got her grandparents. Her parents raised her as a native, and her grandparents, their grandparents raised them as natives. So that's like 100 and something years right there. So she got stuff from the 1860s paperwork that you know what I'm saying? Like that her parents are classified as these type of people. They never labeled themselves as black people. They never signed the census or whatever they had back in the days. And she said there were only a couple thousand of them. Wow. It wasn't like there was, and she said her father and mother just happened to be, and her grandfather and grandfather just happened to stay in this same trucking tribe. You see what I'm saying? So they were able to teach her. She lives in New York now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But she has this stuff, and she's still holding on to this type of stuff, and she has these records and stuff, and she's in court, and she's still trying to prove all this stuff. You know what I mean? And it's a struggle for her. Even though she has these papers that are signed, you know what I'm saying? To you saying that like there was no black and all of that stuff. She says when they try to say stuff to her like, so you're an Aboriginal. And she says, no, I'm an American Indian. And they're like, what do you mean? She says, my paperwork, my grandparents' paperwork says that we are American Indians. I don't care what you say or how you feel about it. This is the paperwork that they wrote, the law back then.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Before there was black and white and all the stuff that her family was labeled, this Chickasaw people, whatever she is, was labeled as American Indians. So they have right to go to school for free, to go to school to get the like medical. You get different medical stuff. Like I have a couple of Indian friends, when they go to the hospital for certain situations, dude, they have different. Sometimes they have to contact their nation. You see what I'm saying? They're born into that shit. It's automatic. It's a federal government thing, man. They go to college for free. When this one of my kids, when he would go to court, dude, he get some different type of dealing with, man. He got this nation with him. You see what I'm saying? You like it's real, dude. They get the casinos. They got the casinos. Like they got, man. Like how you can go and you can buy liquor on their reservations without taxes and stuff like that and all that. You can go buy certain stuff from there and cheaper and But we don't really know. Like we don't know about that because that's there and they keep that stuff secret. They giving people land. They giving people certain paybacks for what they did to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She's part of that. I'm part of that too. I feel like she's red. If you look at her skin is red, man. Like you see how my skin is red, Mike?
Well, we both know that. Like, and I've sent information to you before, right? Where they've shown. They have it. They have paintings of Native Americans here before Christopher Columbus got here and when he got here, and you see melatonin people there.
What do you think about this? Right, this is just one of my conspiracies. The Washington Redskin mascot, the Indian. Right. Yeah, what color was he?
I gotta look at it. I don't know.
Let's pull it up. Right. They got rid of that, Mike, for a reason.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
You see the same thing?
They're like, yo, we don't want to play that.
That's gonna open up some worms.
Yeah.
Check it out. Yo.
That's funny.
Let me see. I'm gonna pull it up too. But I want you to pull it up, and I wanna. Let me see. I'm gonna pull. So you pull that up, I'm gonna pull something up.
Redskins. Mascot. And not giving any images of it.
Now there goes. Whoops. Go back up. Scroll back up.
I mean, I know the image.
You see that on that helmet, right?
Yeah.
What color is that, Mike?
Oh yeah.
You see how dark that image is on that helmet, right?
Yeah.
That's what they saw when they came here, man.
Yes, sir.
That's why they took that off that helmet, because now with all the information and stuff, people are gonna look that shit up, bro.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying, yo? The penny. What color is the penny? The copper colored. You see that?
Like, yeah, I guess no one ever dressed up as a mascot according to this. It doesn't make any sense really to me. Oh, I guess he's the mascot. Like this is what his job is. Oh.
You see that, Mike? You see what they getting rid of?
He's the mascot.
He's the mascot, Mike. You see they getting rid of that, and they got rid of that. Why? You never saw it. You see how slick that is, though? You see how smooth that they got rid of that? They said the Indians. They asked the Indians, right? Mm-hmm. I seen them interview. No Indians had a problem with that mascot. Nobody gave a fuck.
Problem either.
Nobody. That's part of history. They getting rid of part of history. They're erasing history by erasing that name, man. Now they don't have no name, just Washington. Because that's what an Indian looked like, dude.
Here's like for me. Here's the weird rub in all of this, right? So this this is right. What we're saying.
Look how dark that is.
Yeah, and then they changed it to a W, a white W, right? In Washington was a slave owner. We got his name. I'm just saying, like, no matter how they want to, they want to keep it. It doesn't.
That's
none of that.
But
I don't.
But people don't even know that. That's why that's
I
why
like this just the way it was.
Yeah,
yeah.
But they don't want people to know that. If people look at it like, damn, that motherfucker's dark. Like, like, where's he? What tribe is he from?
What's wrong with that? Yeah.
Nothing. They don't want you to know that because that takes away the slave narrative, the master narrative, the whole bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
You know who really got screwed that was on that team was speaking of a black quarterback was RG3. He came right out of college as an excellent quarterback. And high hopes for him. I forget what round he was picked at, but it might have been number 1 or somewhere in there.
Too.
And the coach played him so hard, like to a degree that no coach in his right mind with love for his quarterback would do to him.
He played for Washington.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the helmet.
And he lost his knees over it. His knees, and he never recovered after that, dude. Not because of him, but because of what the coach did to him.
Coach made him.
Had he had a coach that gave a crap about him, didn't treat him that way, I bet you he'd be in the NFL still right now because he was a good player. And then they also did a show on him just on his personality and character, and you just can't help but just love the dude. You know,
that's probably why they hated him, Mike.
Yes, thank you. Because there's always that. There's always that, and that's just as ridiculous. Yeah.
This kid, you heard of this kid Waka Flocka before? Well, he's a different kid. That's just back in the days. He's super rich now. He tours and he does them shows with the strobe lights with them guys who do the dang, 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 dang. You know how much fans and stuff they got all over the world. You know what I mean? Like he's making that bread, man. You know, techno, whatever it is, right? But he got him to the Indian. You know what I'm saying? See how he looks?
Yeah.
And he's super rich, dude. He done dug and he got the information. You can't tell him nothing. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? You're like he paid big money to get information, man. And he's like, you can't tell me nothing. He's like he'll even say, I can't even say this stuff on a video. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you can't, I know. You know what I'm saying? I done paid for this shit. It is what I know. And he knows how to do his LLCs and business stuff, like how to get your little money back here and get money, you know what I mean? Teach you a little smooth stuff like that.
I gotta say, I'm pretty excited about the halftime show for the Super Bowl.
Jay-Z
made that happen.
Yeah, that was their gift for the Kaepernick shit, man.
Really?
Yeah, that's how I look at it as. You know what I'm saying? They gave us that, right? But they only give us music and entertainment, Mike.
I got you.
You're not gonna give us nothing written. You know what I mean? No laws, no bills, nothing written. But you can dance and sing though, and give you some money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why they gave Jay-Z that halftime. That's just my opinion, man. Yeah. They were supposed to give. I know you don't like Kaepernick either, man.
I love Kaepernick. No,
they're supposed to give him a job though.
It's not true.
He's a good quarterback, yo.
No, he's all that.
They was pulling quarterbacks out of retirement, Mike.
I felt like I know they did. I felt like
get the dude.
Him taking the knee the way he did, to me, reminded me of the fried chicken high school kids, where it's like the heart's in the right place, but maybe that particular move wasn't the best move to do it, in my opinion. But then again, I'm just saying that's just what I see. Maybe there's something there I'm not seeing. I know it's against black lives. Basically, he did it right. Tell me if I'm wrong. He did it for police brutality on black lives, basically, which I'm totally for because that's bullshit. But at the same baloney, right? But at the same time,
it's real.
Why?
This is why. When you say why, this guy right there, right? That guy's a veteran.
Yeah.
He's the one who Kaepernick talked to, who suggested that Kaepernick, that would be a way of not being disrespectful.
Oh, okay.
He's a soldier.
Yeah.
That's why he did it. A soldier suggested that to him.
Yeah.
And that's who came at him the hardest, was the soldier guys and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like, damn, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, He did ask. He's like, how can I do this during the international? It isn't like he just went on. He went and asked a soldier.
Yeah.
What would you do?
Maybe there's probably something bigger there that I'm not seeing. You know, I just but I'm with him on what he's saying. He's talking about rights for people that are being oppressed by racist cops, right? And that's a real thing.
Yes.
And cops like that shouldn't be working.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't. They shouldn't.
Or if they are, keep it to themselves. Don't let that affect you.
But because you know that downstate,
because I already know that there's racism in all areas.
They're finding they're going down okay, in some towns, right? Like even in Massachusetts, right? You have a small town, right? And the whole force might be 20 guys.
Yeah. They
got 20 trucks out there. It's 20 guys, right? You take that same little 20 guys, right, and you put them down south somewhere in Mississippi, right, where most likely those 20 guys are some racist guys, dude.
Yeah.
So you got 20 a police station of armed racist men who go out every day. What do you think they do? Fuck with black people, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They pull a couple white guys over and write a couple tickets or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? But when they pulling somebody else over, they come in the car with their hand on their gun.
Yeah.
They just do stuff like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Come with their gun out, or come with some aggression, or make it out your car for a tail light out. You know what I mean? And you have a license plate tag out, and they want to pull you out your car, make you sit on the ground and search your car and call a dog. You know what I mean? Because my tail light was out, and you see, you know what I mean? And you're steaming. You're a man. I'm a grown, dude, this ain't how this is supposed to go.
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to pull up me. I give you my license. You give me a little ticket for the light out. And I say, hey, officer, you have a good day, and I go home. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it's supposed to go, and that's how most people think stuff goes. But that ain't how. That ain't my reality. You know what I'm saying? I've had some incidents right out in Plymouth Center, Mike.
Wow.
Where I've been sitting, right, where they've told me my tail light is out, right? Pulled over, right? I'm sitting there. Another car comes, right? This car got a big old goonie cop. You know what I mean? A big old goonie and a lady, and the lady's really mean and aggressive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's her backup, and she's really rude and really disrespectful and really pokey. You know what I'm saying? And then this guy will ask you questions like, why is your buddy upset? I'm like, you go ask him why he's upset.
Jeez.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have. We got pulled over for a tail light out. What's going on here? Like, that's all we like. And I got a friend who says stuff when we get pulled over together. He says, he throws a car. He says, you ain't gonna kill no black guys today.
Damn.
And it fucks them up, Mike.
Yeah.
Off the rip, yeah. They be like, what do you mean?
I guess that does set everything up. Like, I guess not.
I guess not. You know what I mean? But that's how they
put. Yeah. Funny.
And I'm sometimes I'm mad when he says it, like, relax, man. You know what I mean? But another time it's like, it might save our life, dude. Because he'd be like, oh, what you doing? Nah, man, listen, ain't gonna be no killing no black guys today. And they'd be like, what? Like, oh, I was gonna give you a ticket or whatever, you know what I mean? But some of them might look guilty. How about that? You know what I'm saying? You say that to the right one, what if they get a look like, oh shit?
Yeah.
What else you want to talk about today? Let's pick one more thing.
I think, yeah.
Let's talk about something. Let's talk about your SS guys.
Oh, the Nazis?
Let's talk about some controversy, huh?
I mean, look, it's like
how much influence do you think that man has over this country that we live in now?
Still lies with us today.
How much?
Like it's so entwined you just can't get it. It's like everything. I mean, once the whole world is bleeding for one dude, right?
Mm-hmm. King.
Yeah, like, and he made that on purpose because he made a silent deal, probably, you know, and then started a death cult.
What do you think about how about the drug use over there?
Oh,
Do you think that has something to do with the way that the drug use over here is now?
it's all part of the magic, right? So like he was like, well, just to answer that, I know for sure like the regulations was all by the Nazis by that point. Because check this out, 1933. That's when Hitler swore himself in. While he was being sworn in 1933, at the exact same time, while that's happening on planet Earth, Stalin in Russia just starved out 30 million people in Ukraine. That place that's having bad problems right now. So Ukraine, 30 million people died, and not only did they starve them out, they even got to record it all. And they still know the facts that like women were eating their own children. And then when all of that, and plus, may I also add, the United States, other parts of the world, the whole economy crashed. The economy crashed.
What year was that again?
1933. You know, he made Man of the Year in Time magazine in the United States.
I saw
They're like, there's a man that can get stuff done.
I saw that. I've seen that. I've seen that article. I mean, that magazine cover before, man.
I wonder if the joke, hey, can you let me off the hook? I wonder if that ever spawned off Germany like other things, because yeah, that's what he had happen, right?
There's a little movie about it. You see that? Talking film about great famine in Ukraine, 1932, when the Soviet authorities seized all food in Ukraine from farmers. Man,
Damn.
I'm gonna check that out. Famine 33, Holodomor.
And when you're living in Ukraine right now, knowing that, it's like them motherfuckers are not coming in here.
They didn't let no fucking food
because
trucks
they're not
come
gonna
through.
care.
They didn't let no bread come in. But they could do that now, man. Like, that's what people don't understand in this country, man. If they said, no, you can't go to the supermarket, then what?
I don't think our country would do that, though.
Oh, it will be over, though, man.
Yeah.
It will be that simple, Mike.
Everyone's got to eat.
I know.
You can't turn into North Korea. You know?
Yeah. Man, there's a lot of stuff about that. I'm going to check that out.
But yeah, right to your point with Hitler, 1933, he's getting sworn in. And he had a lot of sympathy from around the world. The whole world sympathized with him.
Right back.
It's kind of like the world at that moment, that small ball,